Welcome to another Keelhauled podcast. I'm your host, CaptainLogun, and we've got a lot of Sea of Thieves news to cover today. So tie yourselves to the mast and hold fast. Ahoy there, pirates. I hope you had yourselves a good week and a good weekend. I know I did. This week, we're going to be talking about the community weekend, and then we're going to be jumping into the season 10 preview with the Gold Hoarders. The way the announcement worked out with the timing just happened to be one of those things where we got a chance to talk about it. So it's going to be less formal for the information that I'm going to be presenting. Obviously, we're going to be talking about more of that as we actually get closer to launch. But I did want to get some thoughts and opinions in this, as well as everyone kind of being represented with this. So it was nice to hear from everyone regarding safer seas and high seas. We'll get into more of that if you don't know what I'm talking about. So that way we can kind of talk about how this is going to impact Sea of Thieves, because it will. And it's going to be a little bit different than what we expect for everyone. So sit back, relax, let's get into it. But before I get into any of that, I have to thank the patrons. They are the ones that are helping support this content. They're paying the bills for me to be able to host this, for me to be able to edit it, for me to be able to upgrade equipment when necessary, which is a long process at the moment, but still working on it. So I want to thank them because it means the world to me. They're the ones that went over to patreon.com/Keelhauled podcast to help kind of support this hobby. So I want to thank them every episode to let them know that I appreciate their time, their effort, their donation. So thank you to People's Republic, L Cute, Balls, Bam Bam Bagel, Captain Chonky, Captain Hayes, Chateau Neuf, Super Pack, Zombie Killer, Cloud, Cosmic Johnson, Static Mirror, DA Gaming, Davram TV, El Jefe Esteban, Fergatron, Godhammer 6, Trickster, Jorby Jorbs, Carl Embo, Kazia the Aficionado, Nightstar, Lumpy SRQ, Evil Morpheus, Space Admiral Oars, Xbox Mike 29, Murphy Lives, Mutinous Max, Norwegian, Raja the Brave, Regis Stella, the Brony Pirate, Replicated Flame, Rustbelt Kid, Skamelt 666, Captain Dasm, Tommy D, TN Professor, Real Big Tuna, Big Bad Pad, Mina Fairy, Captain J Rad of the Flaming Cold Sore, the Lore Chronologist Deadeye Dre, Hager Owl, Jeff H, Ghost Boy 20, Evil Martha, Peter Miller, Rooski Doo, Thor Von Blitz, Windsor Chris, Luke Lore, the Insipid Ghost, and Zam Wow. Thank you all so much for your support. It means the world to me. Also, if you got a chance earlier this week on Talk Like a Pirate Day, you might have noticed that there was a special drop. It was the first episode of the Sea of Thieves RPG that Caleb actually has been written, produced, and DM'd for us, including Zamwell. So if you were wondering what that was about, that was you didn't really read it or listen to it or anything, I'd encourage you. It's a fun little jaunt into the Sea of Thieves world through the RPG that we have been using. It's based off of the Sea of Thieves RPG that they came out with. Gosh, that was forever ago. Came with the Lord Guardian sales and stuff, but it's really fun. We've been having a good time with that. There's more episodes to come that will be available over on tblazer.net. Hopefully I said that right. Caleb, don't murder me. I will talk to you all later. But after that, or after this, we're going to get into the news. So let's get into it. Ahoy there, pirates. Just before we get into this week's episode with the Gold Hoarders, I wanted to give you all a heads up because I forgot about this in the actual episode. Also, we just talked a lot about the season 10 preview as well as the Wish You Were Here event, which for some reason I kept referring to as Legends Week. And nobody let me know until like way later in the episode. But I wanted to let you all know about the community weekend that is actually coming out. So that's coming up on September 30th to October 2nd. It's going to be the whole weekend. And I wanted to give you all some information from it regarding the actual multipliers, things like that. So I wanted to read from the actual news webpage that we got from Sea of Thieves. They actually posted, this was from Christina McGrath, which I definitely appreciate her doing this as kind of a nice little happy Talk Like a Pirate Day celebration. This is the 9th season for the community event. So this one is going to be live on Twitch. They're going to have a bunch of stuff going on. And I wanted to read this so that you kind of get a good understanding of what's going on. So item number 1 on the agenda is how to increase the community emissary grade, which takes on a brand new form for this season's community weekend. Whereas players could previously contribute to boosting the grade by using the hashtag Sea of Thieves Community Day tag on Twitter, this time the multiplier and more will be powered by how much time players spend watching Sea of Thieves category on Twitch. So all you need to do to help raise the grade is tune in to any of your favorite Sea of Thieves content creators within the Sea of Thieves category on Twitch between 10 a.m. UTC on Saturday the 30th to 10 a.m. UTC on Monday, October 2nd. So that's roughly about 2 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, 5 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So as the community grade emissary rises, so will the multiplier on gold, reputation, renown, and allegiance for all players, with the top grade offering 2.5 times the rewards for your work. For all of those still yet to hit level 100 renown in season 9, this will be your chance to do it and make a pretty penny at the same time. I guarantee you probably have not actually played Sea of Thieves since season 9 came out. If that is the case, that's me talking, by the way. If you're a few levels off from scoring your first hourglass related curse, the same applies. This weekend is perfect opportunity to maximize your progress and earn some of those quote unquote stonks. Talking of streams, the Rare crew will be setting sail on Saturday morning live from the on-site tavern. Tankards will be raised, chaos will ensue, pirates will plunder, and a gay old time will be had. Join the gang from 10 a.m. UTC, which is 2 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, 5 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on September 30th to kick off the event with a healthy dose of shenanigans. Every minute you spend watching will also work towards raising the community emissary grade and may even earn yourself some Twitch drops at the same time. That's a very efficient viewing by any standard. They talk about top off the drops. Yes, tuning in your favorite Sea of Thieves content creators and of course us on Saturday morning will also count towards unlocking a suite of drops for your own. I like how they sweet as in like sugary kind of like taste, and then sweet as in like a grouping of things. Of drops. Nice. The Eastern Winds Ruby Sturdy Boots, the Gilded Phoenix Cutlass, the Eastern Winds Ruby Bejeweled Gloves, and the Gilded Phoenix Eye of Reach will become available to claim as the weekend progresses. And all you need to do once each prize is up for grabs is watch any Twitch streamer in the Sea of Thieves category, not just partners on this occasion, for a minimum of 1 hour per item. CaptainLogun here, just want to interject again. Make sure that if you're doing this, you pick up some sort of auto claim extension for the web browser that you're using. Hopefully the web browser you're using offers those. I recommend Automatic Twitch through Chrome. I know there are alternatives like BTTV extension, which offers automatic claiming, as well as an extension that includes a wider range of emotes. So pick your poison on this one. Just make sure that you verify that it's, got some reviews so people have like tested it and stuff. But that way you can automatically claim those drops when you do hit that 1 hour mark. You can kind of leave the browser up in the background. I will let you know too, Twitch has started to implement ways of trying to detour people from being AFK stream or viewing. So generally want to make sure that you have the browser active as its own active window. That way it doesn't just pause the stream. I don't know if that affects the timer when it comes to Twitch drops, but just a little bit of a heads up. Twitch has been kind of a bummer. They've been a bit of a bummer with that. Let's see, where was I for this? Let's see, find out more about how Twitch drops work on our dedicated page, where you can also make sure that your Sea of Thieves and Twitch accounts are linked ahead of time so that you are eligible for the drops. Let's see, we've also set a sneaky extra goal which will bag you a bonus drop should you collectively rise to the challenge. If you all manage to get Sea of Thieves into the top 10 categories by highest number of viewers on Twitch at any point during the weekend, a special Twitch drop will be unlocked. The Obsidian Ship's Crest. This is the crest, equipable to any captain ship and only available for Sea of Thieves community weekends for the foreseeable future. So what they're talking about is the name crest that you can use to like customize what your nameplate looks like on your ship. This is the first time the Obsidian Ship's Crest has been made available. I guarantee you that there will probably be an opportunity in the future for us to be able to get this. But this is the first opportunity that we've had to be able to earn this, as it is a new item. So if you have a captain ship and you do love the Obsidian Ship's Crest, make sure that you are tuning in this weekend to see if that community goal has reached the top 10 for categories. That will help kind of give us the opportunity to get that. It's a big marketing thing. This is coming to us from the marketing team. Well, not the marketing team, but from the community engagement team. So you have to expect that there are going to be engagement caveats along with this. You know, it's always kind of the Ovaltine thing that comes into mind whenever I see this. So bear that in mind. Do what you can to help out. Let's see if we can get everyone that Obsidian Ship's Crest. Let's see. So do your utmost during the event to unlock this super swish item for everyone, not forgetting to make sure that your accounts are linked before you get started. Let's see. Presenting pop-up plunder. This is a new thing that we haven't seen before. It's not just increased rewards and more Twitch drops you can stand to benefit from as you race through the different community emissary grades. Every time the community collectively levels up from 1 through 5, we'll introduce a new piece of pop-up loot or plunder to every Sea of Thieves server. But what is a pop-up plunder? We hear you cry. Well, we can answer that right now. It's a way for us to sneak terrific treasures into the world on the fly. And if you think that sounds cool, it's because it is. Every time pop-up plunder becomes available, players will receive a notification in-game that fresh loot is live and that a clue regarding the whereabouts of the high-value haul has been released somewhere in the Sea of Thieves official social media channels. There will only be one plunderous prize per server, and each will only be discovered for an hour before it disappears. So you'll have to be swift on social and on seas to secure it. I don't know what this is. I think it would be really good for us to dive in a little bit deeper to see if they can kind of talk about like what it is to be expected. So of course there may be a certain amount of strife involving in retrieving these special stashes of loot. Once the pop-up plunder has been dug up, a cheeky little map marker will appear for everyone else on the same server, just so they know the precious prize hasn't been handed in yet, and they can still steal it. If you're thinking, well, that sounds dastardly, you're right. We've designed it like that because we are dastardly. You're welcome. But these spoils are worth fighting for. Amongst the assortment of items that will be buried at random are packed collector's chests, chests of legends, suites of siren gems, and even chests of fortune. So this is a spicy game of loot roulette that stands to earn you scores of gold, cold, hard gold. This is kind of interesting because there's collector's chests, there's chests of legends, there's suites of siren gems, and even chests of fortunes. That is for a 5 unlocking system. So we have 5 grades that we will unlock. There will be a way to find these on social and then find out where it is in the server. I'm assuming it's the same for every server. So once one server, once someone figures it out, it'll be the same for everyone during that time. And then you'll be able to get one of those 4 items. Then there's going to be 5 chances for it. So let me read on here and see what's going on. Even after the community has hit grade 5, we'll continue to periodically drop pop-up plunder into the world until the end of the event. The majority of this loot will be random, with the only guaranteed pop-up plunder item being Grade 5's First Treasure, which you'll all recognize as an item particularly rare and wondrous. Chest of Wondrous Secrets. Of course, these ultra rare treasures can be handed in at certain spots, so you may have to run a daunting oceanic gauntlet to cash in your prize. And the image here is basically a Chest of Wondrous Secrets somewhere in the shores of plenty that someone had dug up, and that indicates like, hey, you're gonna have to run this all the way over to Captain Morrow over on Morrow's Outpost or Morrow's Peak. And so it's going to be a bit of a hike, at least a 30-minute sail. So good luck on that one. Moving on, our onus is on bonuses. This community weekend won't just be about precious pillaging of pop-up plunder. Oh, the alliteration's good, but gosh darn you for the P's, the plosives. There's plenty of on offer for those who just want to enjoy the good vibes and score some free stuff. As is customary, the glorious Season 9 Community Weekend flag, this time in regal tones of purple and gold. With magic its way into the flag, magic its way into the flag box of anyone logging in over the event period. There's also very good news if you're a fan of fondling foliage, as the touch grass emote will be free to anyone logging in too. While we don't actually want you to touch any grass during this event, ideally we want you playing and watching Sea of Thieves, we figured it'd come in handy for those moments of heightened emotion where you feel like it could be refreshing to remind yourself of your roots. And where better to show off your new emote than in front of a stunning community weekend themed picture wall. Following its popularity over the 5th anniversary community weekend, we are bringing picture walls back to the Sea of Thieves, but this time at every outpost. So you won't need to trek over to Golden Sands Outpost to snap, and I changed that, to snap your perfect selfie. There also boasts a flag that represents the community emissary grade at any given time. So you'll know how, how at a glance, wow, good edit there. So you'll know at a glance how grade progression is going. Christina, that is a sentence, my dear. We've even managed to squeeze in a functional grog barrel at the scene, so pirates won't have to travel far for a celebratory beverage. Cheers to that. I gotta say, the flag, the emissary flag that shows like where the grade is for the community emissary grade, that kind of harkens back to the flag post comment that I made with Mike Chapman during the last interview that I had with him about a year ago, where I was hoping that there would be a way to tell how many ships were in an alliance per server based on a flag that was at every outpost. And you could see like, okay, well, if there was 2 flags, that meant that there were 2 alliances out there. If there was 1 flag, there'd be 1 alliance. Or, you know, if there was like multiple flags of the same color, you could tell how many were in per alliance. This is a good way to kind of give anonymous information to a server at a glance at every outpost, the thing that everyone logs into when they start the game. So I kind of like that. If you want to literally fly the Season 9 community flag at home, you're in luck. A time-limited flag and t-shirt will be heading to the rare merchandise store for the duration of community weekend. And if you're looking for an excuse to pick up an additional pirate goodies at a bargain price, the discount code SOT Community Weekend altogether will knock 30% off the cost of most Sea of Thieves swag in that very same store. So it's worth browsing the digital aisles now to see if there's any cute items you'd like to earmark for the occasion. Pretty good, 30% off, not bad. That'll take care of shipping as well as tax for the most part. Funny enough, I did Ren Fair this weekend before working on the rest of this episode. I happened to be I came home after wearing my pirate outfit all day, and I slipped into my first community weekend t-shirt, not thinking about it when I actually got home. This was just the first thing I grabbed out of the drawer. Moving on, hats amore. Even though Twitter will no longer power our community emissary grade, we'll still have a big focus on the hashtag Sea of Thieves Community Weekend hashtag for fun stories and stunning screenshots, artwork, and gameplay clips. So please do spend some time sharing good vibes on all your usual social media profiles. Our community team will be captaining the channels all throughout the weekend, ready to share our favorite posts. These events have always served as a super opportunity to spotlight some of our community MVPs, celebrating amazing players, artists, creators, and general good eggs. So if you think either you or one of your crewmates deserves fame and a particularly fetching hat, look no further as our hashtag BeMorePirate drive returns for Season 9 Community Weekend. We'll be scouring channels and the hashtag BeMorePirate tag for amazing Sea of Thieves stories and creations from now until the end of the event. Worthy winners will be awarded the Hat of Unfeasibly Glorious Fame, so get your submissions in soon to see if your antics warrant your pirate's bonce being crowned with such a special bonnet. I love the words, Christina, by the way. Let's see, gloves and the first degree. So fashion-focused freebooters, you're also in luck. It's time to return to the catwalk for a bonus round of hashtag Style of Thieves with just one category to dress for this time. We're calling your whole crew into the spotlight for the theme Crew Costumes. Show off your cohesive looks and represent your roles on the ship with a screenshot, and you and up to 3 crewmates could each win a set of the Fashionistas Finery gloves. Submissions will be open at 10 a.m. UTC on October 1st and run for just 24 hours, with the 4 winning crews being revealed by October 6th. To enter, just post your screenshot during the submission window using hashtag Style of Thieves and the theme title on X/Twitter, Instagram, or our official Discord server via the Pirate Fashion channel, or reply to the hashtag Style of Thieves post on Facebook. And the last thing that we'll cover here is herd community. That's all you need to know. But the most important thing to do in preparation for Season 9 Community Day is to contact your crew, or if you're a lone wolf, mark some time in your diary for a serious bit of solo slooping. Check your reputation tabs, your commendations, and our outpost stock to see what sorts of targets you can set your sights on and plot a course for adventure alongside all our wondrous pirates in this latest celebration of the Sea of Thieves super community. We can't wait to see you on the seas. So thanks to Sea of Thieves for Christina for typing that all up. Hope I did it justice. And yeah, hope you guys are looking forward to that. I did talk to Davram, who asked if we had any plans or should make any plans for this. And I don't know what's going on next weekend. I know that I have already committed to doing some Hourglass to work on my my skeleton curse. But outside of that, I really don't know what I'm going to be working on. It's a very busy time for me, and that pertains mostly to Xbox in general, with a lot of content creation coming over the next few weeks. Everything is being released right now, so I'm trying to do my due diligence and make sure that whatever codes that we get for review for games, that I'm trying to put that time in so that I can have good conversations about Xbox over on XEP. That being said, I do plan to jump in to do some sailing, watch some Sea of Thieves content creators. I don't know if I'm going to be streaming personally. I felt a lot more comfortable lately not streaming. It's just one of those things where, you know, PC isn't built yet, still working on parts, still not feeling like 100% happy with the way that streaming from Xbox is when I want to have other people like in voice chat. Given that, especially with Davram, he only uses Discord, and sometimes that just has to get captured a different way. So balancing all that stuff, just too much of a headache for me for the most part to work on through ways I have to kind of do it now. So I think I'm just going to hold off on the streaming aspect of things. But if I get told otherwise, then maybe I can stream for a few hours. But I'll try and see what can happen. It's going to be a long weekend for everyone as well too, so I'm sure we'll all be getting an opportunity to go sailing and stuff. So that's it as far as the community weekend news. I hope you guys enjoyed that. Hopefully it wasn't too dull with me just reading through the actual blog post that came out. And thanks again to Christina McGrath for typing that all up with all the information and the great word usage, by the way. So with that, Pirates, I think it is time for us to jump into this week's episode with the Gold Hoarders. We had a really good discussion about safer seas, higher seas, the Wish You Were Here event, as well as guilds and the what is it called, the song, the Skull of Siren song, the Voyage of Skull of Siren song. That's a weird name for it, by the way, but really cool to kind of see that. I'm very interested to see how it turns out and what kind of stuff we get with that. But anyway, enough of me blabbing. Let's get into the episode with the actual Gold Hoarders. Welcome everyone to the September recording for Gold Hoarders. This is our community episode where we're going to be talking about season 10. We're also going to be talking about the Pirate Legend week plus a couple days. We missed out on International Talk Like a Pirate Day. It's been probably the most commotion that's gone around for Sea of Thieves in a hot minute. It really hasn't been very newsworthy, but we got season 10 preview that just came out. We understand now what the three main features are going to be for season 10. There has been a lot of contention, a lot of feelings being shared online, and a lot of uncertainty with some things that we are trying to get a better understanding for. So I wanted to start out this episode kind of talking about Pirate Legend Week, how everyone felt of the event, and kind of understand there are things that are not tracking. The team is aware of that. So I don't want to necessarily focus on, how frustrating it was for things not to track, because I think that's understood. And they just recently had a major issue where everyone's progress reset due to them extending it. And as I understand it, they're aware of that and have either fixed it or are fixing it so that progress should be tracking. But a lot of folks trying to get that tattoo set right now. But I wanted to break that down and see how everyone felt about it. And to do that, I'm going to have to introduce everyone. So I want to welcome everyone to the podcast. Thanks for dropping in. Glad to see everyone come by. Starting off at the top of the list, Captain Hayes. Welcome, Captain. How you doing?
Hey, yeah, I'm very well, thank you. How are you?
Good. Well, I'm doing good. I'm on painkillers right now, but I'm doing good. Next up, we've got Godhammer 6. Godhammer, welcome. How you doing?
Not bad. Yourself? How are you? Oh, well, I just heard how you do. I'm good. Yeah.
Awesome.
Excited for 10.
Good. I'm glad to hear some positivity right off the bat. Mina Ferry joining us. Mina, been a long time. How you doing?
No, I thought I'd stop by.
Yay. I missed you.
No, I'm trying to avoid the painkillers.
Oh, yeah. You got your knee stuff going still,
It's been over a month.
Man. Next up, we've got Regis Stella. Regis, good morning. How you doing?
Doing good.
Awesome. Next up, we've got Static Mirror. Static, welcome back. How you doing?
Pretty good. Nice, beautiful, rainy day here in Wisconsin.
A rainy day. Ooh, I do like rainy days.
Yeah, I got all the windows open in my house, and it smells amazing.
Oh, that's the best, man. All right. And then last but not least, TN Professor. TN, how you doing, buddy?
Grumpy old manning it. It's fine.
Aw, don't say that. Got stuff to do.
It is a nice fall day in the 50s with rain.
Ooh, that sounds good.
Curl up with a book.
Some nice, man. That sounds nice, honestly. All right. So right off the bat, Pirate Legend Week, it's been extended. Hopefully folks are able to take advantage of that. I know I was certainly pressed for getting a Fort of Fortune done the last couple days before they extended it. And again, it was definitely kind of frustrating, the fact that stuff wasn't tracking, or that there was uncertainty of what needed to be done for certain things. So I'm glad that they pushed it out from the 21st to, I think what did they push it out to? The 27th or the 26th? No, 27th. No, why? Oh, that's Pirate Legend. Okay. I can't remember, and I can't find the tweet right now.
It's the Wish You Were Here event.
Yeah, trying to see what they push that out to, but I think you've still got some time if you're working on that to be able to get that done. So it looks like we've got that going right now. The Wish You, oh yeah, I keep saying it's the Pirate Legend Week. You guys aren't correcting me on that at all. So it's the Wish You Were Here event. Has everyone gotten it done? Static, I know we were talking a little before recording that you're still working on that. Is anyone not finished up that, and what do you need left?
I'd say, well, the big one that I absolutely need is either open up a Fort of Fortune or Fort of the Dam.
Okay.
But that's kind of the last thing to do since I have not really hopped into this game for about 3 months now. So very rusty and very intimidated by the Fort of the Damned, as people will just come and snipe you. So
Yeah, definitely.
We
I managed
finished
to
it
get-
in 2 days and never saw anybody else except for one boat off in the distance. So we got it all done. I
Yeah.
hate fishing. I hate fishing. I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. But we did it.
Yeah, that was all
I had
individual
fished so
too.
long I forgot how.
So forlorn.
Paddy did fishing.
Patty had to do fishing.
He
Everyone
had
had to do fishing.
and so he got on with it and did it whilst grumbling.
Hayes, you were opening up. I think you wanted to say something too.
Sorry, yeah, I was going to say I thought I had it all done, and then just before midnight, when the event was about to close, I realized I was only on 11 out of 12, so I rushed to get the last thing done. I think it was to visit an island in a region that I couldn't remember which regions
Oh,
I had been to. And,
Yeah.
so I went around every single region, just fired myself out of the cannon to every island, just managed to get it done before midnight, only to then find out the next day they'd extended it.
oh man. Yeah. I really wish that there was more visibility on like where you'd been to help out
Yeah, it
with
was
that.
difficult.
Yeah. See, Prof, you're talking about doing a FOF in a regular fort with no one around. The story that I was telling a little bit before we got recording, we did a ghost fleet and then I went off to go do a couple things. I ran into the same thing. Like I went on, because I was just running solo. I went on and did a FOF that I for sure thought like people were going to be doing, right? Because it's like the last couple days before the event's supposed to end. I for sure thought people were going to be working on the FOF since that's the hardest thing to get feasibly. And nothing, no one, like not even a whiff of aggression towards me. And
So I don't know.
yeah, it just feels completely anecdotal, man. It's like sometimes you get a spicy server, sometimes you don't.
It was over 2 days, so a total of 4 hours, and saw one boat off in the distance,
Yeah.
and that was pretty much it. And then the last 3 times that we've sailed, which about averaging at 2 to 3 hours, nothing, nobody. It just has been really dead.
Are you guys scuttling and shifting servers?
We didn't because we were trying to do the event, so. The problem is I love the random interactions and it spices things up. So, there's nothing like being in the middle of catching a fish and having someone roll up on you and, that, oh no moment.
Yeah.
But there's not a lot of that. I mean, I know Chinzo's claiming he sees people all the time, but I haven't. We haven't.
Well, he's got the data every time. He's one of the few people he could back. He's got the receipts. So
he still hasn't given me an explanation about, all the hours we spent not seeing anybody.
I think that's just going in circles though. Cause I noticed that too. Cause like, I think everyone is just, they're all going counterclockwise around the map. And it's just like, they're all trying to go to different islands to try and like get those achievements. And because everyone's moving around, there isn't like one main thing that everyone's pointing towards. There's fewer like run-ins with other crews, because I have run into other crews and I've seen other crews on the horizon, but everyone's just doing their own thing right now. There's not really like a central focus.
Yeah, it's weird.
I think it'll change though. Mina, you said that you did a Fort of the Damned without any issues.
Yeah, we tried to do a FOF that popped up, but there was 2 or 3 other ships that also decided that they wanted it, and we couldn't be bothered to fight them all. So we ended up just doing a Fort of the Damned, but nobody bothered us while we were doing it. So
Anyone else have any interesting encounters that they've noticed kind of anecdotally around Fort of the Damned or Fort of Fortunes to get that last checkbox?
Not to get the checkbox, but we were stacking Fort of the Damned. We did 3 in a row.
Oh my god.
And we were in the middle of loading up all the loot, and I'm like, east is clear, west is clear, south is clear. I can't see on the north side, so guess we'll just hope for it. And then the boat with the legendary servant title comes around and misses every single one of their chain shots. We got the boat going and got into a nice little scrap with them. They were a sloop, we were a brig, and it was we had quality players on our side, and they had quality players on our side, but we had one more. That was all we needed. So
That's
we got our 3 stack. It was great.
Nice. And Static, I know you had you'd piped up. You wanted to share a good story.
Yeah, I would. If anybody would love to have my Fort of Fortune curse, you can go right ahead. I've still only handed in 2 chests. I have only been able to hand in 2 chests of fortune. It doesn't matter. I could be the only ship on the server and go to the Fort of Fortune, and I'll be halfway through, and then next you know it, there's a Reaper that hopped in through portering, and oh, here they come. And it doesn't really matter. Every time a fort pops, every time we try to get near it, anytime we are doing it, we always get contested. I don't know where you guys come up with this nobody ever bothers us stuff, but that is not a thing in my world. So if y'all just want to go ahead and take my curse off me, go right ahead.
Do you want to have my curse of sailing against the wind?
Yeah, we usually just play Bob Seger against the wind. It's a great tune while you're sailing.
Black Rose. Logan knows.
Okay, so I did want to get a feel for everyone. What did you guys think of the Wish You Were Here event as far as like the actual challenges? I thought it was a pretty good kind of like tour of Sea of Thieves. Like, these are all the things that you can do in Sea of Thieves, and you can work on getting them done. Did you like that? And was the rewards for like getting the content? Because I mean, this stuff is coming. Like, we're gonna see these cosmetics later on, and you'll probably have another way of getting them. But everyone seems like, because there's not much to really do in the game to push you to log in, this was like a must do kind of thing. But were the rewards worth it in your mind?
I think the tattoo is really nice. That's the only reason I did it, really.
I don't blame you, honestly.
It was a nice tattoo set, and it fits Hefe perfectly. So knowing that he wanted it badly, and he is our map, I told him that I'd love to play and get him that, and that I knew I would get it, but I had no right to wear it because I don't know where I am, because I'm so used to having him around.
Well, that just means that you just look in the mirror to know like where you've been.
He is our map.
I got it on the Tuesday after the event started. The only issue I had was the naval battle thing. Only wasn't counting the multiples like I believe it was supposed to. So I went through 4 megalodons and 2 skeleton fleets, and it didn't pop. But after doing some portal hopping or some scuttling to find a ghost fleet, it went through just fine. And I'm really happy about the tattoo because it's replaced the Umbra's tattoo, the Umbra's Immortalized Legends tattoo.
Okay.
Because Sea of Thieves geography is like my little thing. I do Sot Guesser almost every day, and I love just like little Sea of Thieves geography things. So that's replaced the Umbra's tattoo set for me.
That's cool. That's really nice to hear. Yeah, Prof, you getting to do everything without any of it like running into problems. That is like, unicorn status right there. Like, you had the magic dust with that.
Everything tracked over 2 days for all of us on the boat. Yeah. Weird.
I mean, I sacrifice the interruptions for the sake of having everything track. I don't know, man. I think I'd take that curse. So everyone seems like they're pretty happy with the tattoo set Tracking things aside, it feels like everyone enjoyed the content, or at least working on the content. Anyone have any issues there, or we all pretty good to move on?
Too much fishing, but I understand why.
It was like six. It's like 6 fish, my dude. Crazy. Okay. Well, if that's good, then we're going to save the discussion for Monkey Island 2 and try and do Monkey Island Conversation Telltale 2 and Telltale 3 next month after LeChuck or the Lair of LeChuck is released, which is coming out next week. That's actually on the 28th. I'm looking forward to seeing that because the preview that we got for just that, the environment looks so vastly different than what we're used to seeing. I'm really excited to go explore that island. We got season 10's preview in, and it has been, everyone has been up in their feelings about this. And I just wanted to kind of break down the two main things that are coming in October and November, and then we'll talk about the thing that's coming in September, in December. So we're getting guilds, which is really cool. It's limited to 24 people, which bums me out. I think 50 people would probably be a little bit better, but that's just because I'm selfish and I want to have as many people in our guild as wants to join, but that remains to be seen. The cool thing about the guilds is that we'll be able to put one of our captainships into the guild, and then anyone who wants to can actually use that ship as a ship to sail. You can't load into the same servers with other guild members. You can't you can have like non-captain players on other people's captain ships in the guild. You can create a name, you can get a motto. There's going to be certain colors and icons that you can use to represent it. And there's going to be rewards, cosmetic rewards that are given to different, or to all of the guild members, depending on the level of the guild. So you'll raise milestones up as a guild, very much in the way that you do with your own personal ship, but this will be tied directly to the people within your guild. As far as I understand, every 100 levels that rank up as far as the milestones go for the guild is a new set of rewards, with a full ship set being kind of the teaser for this. I don't expect this to be something that will be a huge feature, but it does feel like an extension to captaincy. I want to kind of get your guys' initial feedback on this. Guilds, we're going to have a Keelhauled guild. We'll probably have a few of them. Honestly, I don't know how, but we'll have to have a few of them to get everyone in. What do you all think of this? Is this something that you think is exciting? Are you looking forward to seeing like what the rewards are and how to get them? Anyone's ship that you want to borrow? Since I know a lot of us have very, very specific ships and names that have very specific crews.
I'm pretty excited. I'm part of a group already. Shout out to the Grog Pirates. I don't know if any of them listen. Hey guys. We've been sailing together for about 2 years together, and we're a fairly tight group, little invitational. I think most of us are all in there through, like, we found the only way that we've invited in people has been through, I've invited in people through invitation. But we've all been sailing for quite some time, and we're excited to make our group sort of like Sea of Thieves official.
Yeah.
So this is really, for me specifically, and the people in the Grog Pirates, we're all pretty excited for it.
That's awesome. Yeah, I'm hoping that a lot of that happens. Anyone else looking forward to guilds, or have any plans to start up their own guild?
I have a question. Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead, Static.
Mine's going to be kind of a two-parter question. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I'll happily donate my Dragon of the Depths to one of your guilds, Logun, which is a galleon before you ask.
That's cool. That's a good name for a ship.
Well, I try to design around the descriptions of a ship from from the fanfic that inspired my fanfic. So, I mean, it's a freaking sailing fortress. You can try and translate as much as you can to it.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Static, you're up. We get your 2-part question in, and then Prof, I want to get your thoughts on it.
So I'm excited for guilds. It's it's going to be something new, obviously, something new to work towards. It's going to be fun. But you kind of brought up something earlier that guild members can't be on the same server, as in like possibly multiple ships.
So that's a good question. I say that in. I was expecting guilds to afford us the opportunity to load into a lobby prior to getting into a server with multiple crews.
Okay. Because my concern is like when we have 6 or 7 of us all on at the same time, we try to load in 2 ships at the same time. So that way we could all be on the same server and alliance up and just do things.
Yeah.
So if we're all in the same guild, is that going to prevent us from being able to log into the same servers trying to get 2 ships so that way we can all hop on each other's boats?
I think you can still spike a server to get 2 crews on the same server. I don't think there's anything that will prevent that, because it looks like the interface for guilds is the same way that you would log into the game normally. You just have a couple more menus before you jump in. So I think it'll take a couple more menus on the front end to get to the set sail portion. But outside of that, I don't think there's anything in guilds that prevents you from being able to like spike a server to get a couple crews on one server.
So does that mean multiple black roses on a server? Is that what you're saying?
Oh, that's so weird. It's such a weird, like, I don't know how that's the other thing is I don't understand how guilds work when you can borrow someone's ship. Like, say someone takes out the Keelhauled crew galleon and, I get off work and I'm like, all right, time to get it. And then you walk out to the shipyard and you're like, where's my boat? Guys, who's got my boat? I really don't.
That's very true.
I don't know how that works. Am I just going
I'm
to
just wondering if there would be a message that says this boat is currently being used by another member.
Oh, that doesn't sound fun.
Yeah. You're like sitting there like ready to get set sailing, and then you're like looking around for your boat and it's just not there.
Although you have just opened up a new possibility every time that Hefe pays to get the boat all nice and shiny. I'll just go out and put one ding in it.
just raise the anchor and slowly grind it alongside the dock. Like, who keyed my galleon?
Sorry. I am actually as grumpy as I am right now. The guilds is something that I'm excited about. It's actually the mechanic that the Black Rose was hoping for when they first announced the possibility of saved ships.
Mm-hmm.
And I can remember when we all logged in, it's like, oh, this is okay. This is kind of cool, but it's not really what we wanted.
Mm-hmm.
So the guild thing is really something I'm excited to see how it rolls out. I don't see any reason to ever sail a non-guild boat if it works out the way we're hoping.
Yeah, me too. I'm also really curious to know if I can have like the same ship in multiple guilds, or am I going to be like stuck with just one ship because I mean, I've been trying to unlock my sloops, so I'm good with having like multiple captain ships in different guilds. But it's like I have the one or I have 2 galleons, but one of them's the one that I would want to have like across to represent like the Keelhauled crew. I'd want them to be able to be represented through multiple guilds, but we just don't know yet. So I don't know. Kind of curious about that.
I saw and maybe this is jumping ahead, but the being able to save the rowboat stuff.
We can talk about that. Bring that. Go into detail. What do you mean by save the rowboat?
Well, I just saw the YouTube announcement where they're gonna scatter the world with various colored rowboats, and some of them being rarer than the other. And then once you find it, you can save it to your boat like you do cosmetics.
Yeah.
But I haven't been able to research all the ins and outs of that, because it sounds like if you get sunk, the rowboat stays active out there. Does that mean you lose it when you come back in?
Yeah.
Say next session?
Yeah, it's good questions like that. Hayes?
I was just going to say, I think I saw something where you can save it to your boat, but if you lose the rowboat, it's no longer yours. So if you log in, find a rowboat, put it on the back of the ship, and then you log off, it stays there. However, if you lose it or it sinks. Next time you log in, it won't be there, I think.
If they're gonna have different rowboats and some of them are rare, there better be accommodations locked behind trying to find them. Otherwise, it defeats the purpose of having a rare rowboat. Just saying.
Well, I think they did specifically call out the good boy version of the rowboat.
Can we talk about the
that
fact that it's sad that the Sea Dog rowboats are really the thing that they're just bringing to the game now?
You're right. You're absolutely right. They already had the cosmetics saved, so maybe it's good they can reuse the resource.
Yeah, it just makes me sad. It's like, oh, it's just more of the arena.
They bring it back one piece at a time.
Mina, did you have something you wanted to talk about?
Not about rowboats, no.
Oh, okay. I feel like
My rowboat gets stolen all the time
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
by my crewmates.
So how's that going to work if Oars runs off with it?
It's his rowboat.
It is his rowboat. So yeah, overall, I think guilds will be great. I think it'll be a nice little role play thing for us to be able to have fun with. It feels like, if you guys remember, and I think I've seen a few other folks talk about it too, that the season 9 quality, or the season 9 like thing, was a new way to role play, and it feels very much like season 10's guilds was that, but for whatever reason, like captaincy, it's just a very intricate system that at the surface doesn't seem very deep, but it has a lot of issues that they have to work out too with testing and stuff for milestones and whatnot, and how that's all going to work out. So glad to see that we're getting new ways to kind of socialize in Sea of Thieves. I'll be very curious if Rare starts to kind of like show off analytics about, like, you know, what guilds are achieving the most in the game, or, you know, whose ship has been sailed the most, or been out on the seas the longest, you know, like if crews are taking over another ship and they're just going there. Also makes me wonder, like, how is this going to impact alliance servers, because those are going to still be around regardless, but this is kind of like a way for alliance servers to have the same ships and just have one ship constantly being used and earn milestones towards while the captain is no longer there, which kind of defeats the point of having captains, because a lot of people wanted to get the milestones on their specific ship, and this kind of takes that restriction away. So little repercussion. I don't know if that really came into play. Prof, you're already against it, I can tell.
I'm against it.
I'm
Grumpy curmudgeon.
Burn. I love you. So yeah, glad to see that guilds are making their way to the game. I think this is a really great way to do it. I really do wish it was like 50 people or 100 people, to be honest, because I don't think many people will have 100 people to bring into a guild, but it's also kind of a nice way to say, like, hey, we are such and such a guild. If you are new to Sea of Thieves and you want to be in that type of a guild, these people will bring you in and kind of afford it to, like, open up to more than just, you know, the handful of small groups that are kind of around. Maybe I'm being selfish on that one.
Give it time, I'm sure. Rare would expand the guild's sizes even more.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Is it weird that they didn't call this fleets? Am I crazy?
No, you're not. No, you're not crazy.
I feel like
That's actually, I don't know.
Why didn't they call this fleets and have the fleet leader be called Admiral? Like, I feel like that could have been a title that they could have put in the game for people.
Oh,
That would make more sense.
Right?
Maybe until maybe it'll be like, you know, alliance of guilds kind of thing, like, you know, I don't know.
Pirate guilds. That sounds kind of cool.
Isn't the fleet what they refer to your captain ships? I think one of the commendations is like fleet admiral or fleet commodore.
Yes, you are correct.
Yeah.
Dang. But you can't sail more than one. Well, maybe you can. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe the guild is giving you the opportunity to put all of your captain ships into the guild and only invite people with who are willing to sail on your captain ships, and you then have a fleet. Maybe that's the end game. I don't know. I think people are going to want to bring their ships into the guild, though.
Man, that sounds like a dictatorship almost.
That does, yeah. Almost like there's one person in charge of everything. So I think we're good on guilds. You guys want to talk about the Skull of Siren Song?
Sounds great. I want to do it first day.
I think this is, so for those folks that don't know, this is a new competitive voyage. It's called the Skull of Siren Song. The voyage is shared across all the players on a server. So it doesn't matter where you are in the world. If the voyage pops up, which it will in the form of a ghostly paper with a dagger attached to the main mast. So for like a brig, it'll be the one with the crow's nest on it with I guess it's every mast that just has a crow's nest. This is going to pop up for the same time across everyone. It's opt-in. So if you don't want to do this, you don't have to do it. Nothing's forcing you to do it. But if you do opt in, then you will then get 2 maps. Each map will have 2 digs, and everyone on the server gets the same map. So what you do is you'll go out after you vote in, you go to those islands, you dig up one will be a key, and then one will be a chest. And you need both to be able to open up the chest. When you open up the chest, you'll then get the Skull of Siren Song, which is effectively an Ashen Wind skull, but with bubbles. Once you get the skull, it will then tell you where you have to go to turn it in, because it's not going to be to an outpost. It could be an outpost, could not be an outpost. Who knows? Could be anywhere. But it will tell you where to go turn it in. Once you have pulled that skull out of the chest, it will begin to slow down your ship, which means that you are going to be sailing even slower than you normally would, which help the soul out there who has Prof's curse of sailing into the wind on a galleon, because you might as well just...
No change.
You might as well...
No change.
It'll be worse. And this is all kind of led to us through the means of Briggsy, which is the ghost of Briggsy. It's super weird to have Briggsy being the one that is like starting this off, in the sense that she's supposed to be helping the brethren with the ancient temple for the cure for the skeleton curse to help Tasha, which has been unresolved. But it fits in line with the fact that this is very much her bag, like everyone going after the same thing and like running away with it and trying to get it turned in and fighting them and stuff. Like that's very much like a Briggsy thing to have. But I want to get folks' thoughts on this. It's going to be a mad dash for these when they come out, because everyone's going to want to get the commendations for them done. I love the idea that the person with the skull is going to be slowed down. So it's not going to be something they can get away with fairly easily. But whoever gets the skull from them will then also have to deal with the fact that they are also slowed down, which means they need to sink the other ship who originally had it if they ever hope to get away with it. And I think that's really kind of nuts. Like you would have to lock someone down on their ship to the point where they just can't do anything if you hope to sail away with this thing, because it's going to make you that much slower. But thoughts, feelings, concerns, comments, questions. Are you excited? Do you like it? Do you hate it? Are you never going to participate in it? Is it Arena 3.0? What do you think? Static, you're up.
I think it's going to be interesting. It's going to be the new hotness. You know, Fort of Fortunes might be easy to get done because people will just want it to get done. So this might pop up.
Yeah.
But it is also, I feel like it's almost kind of like Arena, because Arena, it was everybody fighting over, you know, one chest, whatever, to try and hand that in. And this is almost like what it is.
Mm-hmm.
But here's my question. If you don't opt in on this and you come across them, and let's say you sink them, are you not able to grab the skull? Are you not able to touch it? Like, what's the deal if you don't opt in? And then my second part to that is, I wonder if they realize about the rowboat glitch. So if you have a harpoon rowboat, you can just harpoon on the back of a ship and just basically water ski your way somewhere. You are not technically part of that ship. So the skull would be affecting the rowboat, but not the ship.
I will make sure that gets passed on to the devs so that doesn't happen, because that would really defeat the point of the skull. So I will definitely make sure that I can try and get that across to the devs.
Rowboat anchor.
Rowboat anchor. To address the first question that you had, that is a very good question, because we know that no crew or no new crews can opt into the quest after the skull has been revealed. So the quest will become locked to crews who are already taking part of it, and they'll have to wait for a new competitive voyage to begin. But that does not address if people come across a crew that has that and they go and sink them. So because there's just no way to really know, like, if they'll even be able to see it.
If they can see it, even if they can't touch it, you already know there's enough troll spirit out there that people will just mess with it if they can, even if they can't have it.
Okay, so this would be a solution, and let me know if this would fix the situation. You have to opt into the quest to get the maps. Once you've opted in and the chests have been opened, or the chest has been opened and the skull's been revealed, it no longer shows on the map for any crews that didn't initially opt in.
Well, I mean, that might limit the number, but I know when I've tried to do the current arena, the Hourglass, I've had boats sail into the middle of the battle that weren't flying any flags, and they were just there to be chaos and troll. So it's not, I don't know how you stop that. And that's going to really suck to be super slow and then have a troller too.
Yeah.
Tools, not rules, baby.
It would be similar to if any other crew was actually involved with it. It really does come into question, like, how do outside crews affect this if they never opted in? Like, will they be able to see the markers on the map? Because if not, then there's no way to tell, like, where the crew is or where they got to go. But if everyone can see it, regardless of whether or not they've opted in, then that kind of does defeat the point of opting in. Like, let someone else go do all the work.
I mean, really, Logan, be honest. You see 2 random boats or a couple random boats, you're not going to go over there and mess with them, even if you don't know that there's treasure?
Some people. It depends. I know third partying is really big in battle royales. Like, a lot of folks, I mean, most folks usually just assume it's a hourglass fight nowadays, right? And since there's...
Oh, I always wander over. So I am one of those trolls.
Oh. It's not trolling. It's Sea of Thieves.
All right, so the mask has been removed. Go grumpy old men.
It could be that opting in is what makes you count for the commendations that are likely to be accompanied with. So if you're not, because it is a voyage, so if you don't sign up for the voyage, you don't get the commendation for having finished it. It might not count. It may count for you turning in a Skull of Siren Song, or it might be turn in a Skull of Siren Song on on the Skull of Siren Song voyage, something like that. Maybe.
I could see that being something that would help if, say to Static's question, say someone goes to another crew, sinks them, finds out they had a skull, didn't opt into the voyage. They have no way of seeing where that skull has to be taken, because it has to be taken to Briggsy, and Briggsy is somewhere in the world. And they would have to go sailing around the entire world to try and find where Briggsy's going to be.
As long as the skull is in action, maybe you'll have the option to vote in.
No, they've said anyone that vote, or anyone that wants to vote in, has to be done before the skull or before the chest is open.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think limiting the prize is going to lessen the likelihood of meddling.
I don't think you're wrong there. But I mean, there would be zero bonus if to Godhammer's point, if the voyage doesn't count because you didn't opt in, and you can't see where to take it because you didn't opt in, then really it's just an Ashen Wind Skull that slows your boat at that time, because you have no clue where to take it to get the money or the commendation credit.
And meddling is fun.
And
we
meddling
all have
is
plenty
fun.
of money.
But not everyone has commendations. Honestly, that doesn't matter to me either. But yeah, I think this is really fun. I think this is kind of a way to do what I think we've talked about here in the past, as far as like bringing the arena chest to Sea of Thieves and having it be something that, you know, like I think we've talked about in the past, how we've talked that it could be something it could be out in the world and you'd have to find it and you would have to sail it back to the Sea Dog Tavern or something like that. This is very much like in that, but I like the idea that only those that opt into it will know where to go turn it in, and everyone else will kind of be like SOL, and they'll have to kind of wait if that's how that works. But it was a cool idea. I like it. I think they've done a good job. The slowing the boat mechanic, I think, is huge. That needs to be a curse ball, I think, in my opinion.
Ooh. Well, I mean, taking down sails is kind of a slowdown too.
Yeah, I mean, we've got the rigging ball, but it doesn't last that long. I think even if it's, I mean, if we get the front cannons,
permanently slowing someone down for an extended period.
Okay, maybe not that. All right.
Well, if you're gonna do that, you might as well add forward-facing cannons.
Well, I mean, I think we're getting them. If the latest tall tale is anything to be shown, I mean, we saw a ship with bow chasers.
That's true.
So I mean, like, it'd be dirty. It'd be dirty, but I could see it. Mina wants to know if a ballast ball will slow you down a little. I don't know. I just know it sinks you. I don't know if it actually slows you down.
I know it lets a lot more water in, and it obviously has the potential to sink you, but when you're dragging that low in the water, does it affect? It's not something I've ever thought about. Does it affect your speed?
That's a good question. I don't know
Usually
if
at
it
that
does.
point, I'm too busy panic bucketing to notice how fast I'm
Exactly. Normally, I'm like dealing with the effects of the ballast ball and not thinking about how fast I'm going. But
Ultimately, yes, it does slow your boat down a lot as it sinks.
see, that's what I think it must do. I think it slows other things down when I've used it on them.
Yeah, I'd be very curious. All right. I didn't pay attention to how long we've been recording. I want to get to safer seas and high seas. So the third thing that is coming after the Skull of Siren song in November is high seas and safer seas, which is coming in December. This is, in my mind, in a kind of way, well, I'll talk about what I think it is, but let me just kind of break this down. So they're now splitting up adventure. Adventure is going to be two types of adventure. There's safer seas and then there's high seas. High seas will effectively be what adventure is now. Nothing will change. Everything's the similar. All the adventures and live events will all come to high seas. What safer seas does is give you, in my mind, a classic version of Sea of Thieves. Same ships, same islands, same everything, but these are the only things you can do in safer seas. You can progress up to level 40 in all the trading companies except for Reaper's Bones and Athena's Fortune. So that does include fishing, from what I gather from that. Gold and reputation is only going to be earned at 30% of what it would be if you were in high seas, instead of the 100%. Seasonal renown will earn at the same rate as high seas. You can play through all of the tall tales, solo or with friends. You can work towards all applicable commendations and achievements that pertain to the four main trading companies or tall tales. We don't quite know about Bildrat adventures. And then you can purchase cosmetics from the outposts in Sea Post stores. And you can invite any of your Xbox Live friends into your session. This is limited to 4 people. So 1 galleon crew at most. This is technically something that is going to be client side, so that you're going to be having people joining into your client instance of the game. It's why it's not going to have world event type stuff, because it's going to be something that's separate from the servers that are normally running. The regular high seas, you're still going to be able to become a pirate legend. You're still going to be able to have the golden reputation for Athena's Fortune. You'll still have hourglass battles. You'll still have captainships. You can be a part of a guild. You can have the trade company emissaries. You can take place of live events like Golden Glory or community weekend, things like that. For me, this is Game Pass demo. The game is so in depth right now. There's so much going on with the game that reducing the amount that's available and slowing down the progress is a way to give players who played Sea of Thieves and got overburdened by what's going on in the world, or not really sure like what's going on, a way to push through stuff that happens in the game without having someone like come and bump into them. And it gives them an opportunity to really like get a feel for the game, play the game for a while until they get bored of not having any more reputation or anything. And this is going to be a good way for Game Pass to bring an influx of players in a way that will actually give them time to learn how to play, so that when they do get into high seas, they will have far more experience on how events work and what to be aware of, or how voyages work and how to be aware of those, as opposed to finding people who have absolutely no clue how to do any of the voyages, and their only experience is sailing around and bumping into random encounters and having a bad time. This is also going to be a way for people to avoid dealing with other crews, especially if they deal with anxiety, if they have any kind of accessibility options that slow down their gameplay. It's also going to be a great little thing if you have 4 kids that want to play a pirate game. Throw them into the safer seas and let them do whatever they want, and you don't have to worry about censoring other crews around there or turning off the game chat and stuff. But I do think that for the most part, this will not affect what happens in high seas. I think most people will probably play the game at high seas. If anything, it's going to bring people into safer seas that otherwise would probably not be playing the game. And for those that want to spend the $40 to $60 for Sea of Thieves and get their single player tall tale content out of it, and then put the game down and call it good, they'll be able to do that there. They probably would have never bought the game originally. I wanted to open this up because now that I've kind of said my piece on this, I'm curious to hear what people think. Who wants to go first?
Yeah, I think the safer seas is a pretty good idea, mainly from the point of view that the amount of times that I'm sure younger players or just any new players have joined the seas, they've spawned at an outpost, and then suddenly a 3-man brig has appeared and completely destroyed them, and then they've gone, right, okay, don't really fancy playing this anymore. So safer seas would be a good idea for people to basically learn the ropes. My only concern with it is that if someone joins the safer seas, they do go up to level 40 and then they fancy coming onto the high seas. And because they've had no PvP experience, they join and the same thing happens. Someone, they might even get a bunch of treasure and then they end up sinking. And then they think, oh, well, instead of just trying again on the high seas, I'll just go back to the safer seas and stay there. So I don't know if that might affect the overall player pool, or it's kind of hard to tell, but I'm sure Rare have got all the stats involving that, so they obviously know what they're doing.
Excellent. So God, let me hear your feelings and thoughts on this.
I think it's a good thing overall. There are a lot of ways to end up with bad feels early on in this game. I know one of the very first sessions I ever had was just watching some guy roll up on my boat real slow, just getting in there real nice and slow and picking it apart while I'm standing on crooked masts and waiting for them. One guy swims over and I'm just like, hi, and boom, I'm dead. And I persevered, but not a lot of other people may feel that exact way. I think a good, nice, safe environment for some people, just to like ease them in, learn the flow, get an idea that what they're doing without having to worry about somebody blasting them apart in the middle of it, is good to give them, like you said, the demo feel for the game before checking out high seas and learning a whole bunch of new things about the game because they involve all the rest of us. It's also, oh no, it's gone. The train of thought has just left the station.
You're talking about bringing people in before they move into high seas.
Yeah. Oh no, it's gone. Wow, I've never seen it leave that suddenly.
You want to put a pause and see if Mina?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
All right, we'll come back and see if you can remember what it was. Mina, let me get your thoughts on this. High seas safer seas? What are you thinking?
I understand why they're coming out with the safer seas. They are a lot busier than a lot more things happening and do since we started it in year one. I totally understand it. I'm hoping that it doesn't affect how busy the seas are for those of us that will stick to the high seas. I wonder if 40 is maybe a little bit high before being plunked into the high seas to finish off if you want to get to Pirate Legend, because you've done a lot at the amount of the discount for leveling at 30%, the amount of time that it's going to take them to get to that level without anybody bothering them to then have to do that last bit potentially with people attacking them. I think they're going to find it a bit, I don't know. But
do you think that the fact that level 40 being technically halfway to 50 impacts that at all?
I think it might. I think that might be why they're doing it. I don't know if that is indeed the case. I was always told from day one that 40 was about halfway because of the massive impact on leveling slowdown.
Yeah.
But even then, why not 30? If it's meant to be the training wheels part where you're kind of getting your feet wet, why not 30 or something instead?
Yeah. Okay. I wanted to go
By
back.
then you've got enough. By then you've played enough. You've had enough time potentially to have tried everything that is on offer in the safer seas.
Well, a good portion of it. It is effectively like year one before we started to get events with like fishing included, because they won't be able to do captaincy. They won't be able to do sovereigns. They won't be able to do Athena loot, any of the tall tail or any of the tails that involve that, any of the Reaper abilities I don't even know what Reaper's going to look like. I don't even know if Reaper's going to be there.
Reaper's not in the safe seas.
But will they revert the island back to its original state?
I don't know. I don't know about that. Possibly, or back to before the buildings were there.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Like, you can't do Fort of the Damned, you can't do Foff. So is it going to be old boot for the fort that's there? I'm so confused on how that's going to work.
No.
I think Godhammer reclaimed their train of thought.
I caught up to the train of thought. The other thing is the people who feel that they need the safer seas aren't typically the people who are playing the game right now as it stands. Because like a lot of people just stop playing. They like, I'll play this game again, but I don't want to deal with the people. So like, if this can at least bring them back in to come in and experience it, and maybe get a better appreciation of it, and then think, okay, maybe I'll check out High Seas. To your point about Old Boot Fort and that it should stay in safe seas as something that they can aspire to try. I think that they should keep all the content that they could unlock for high seas locked in safer seas, and it becomes aspirational content. It's like, well, you're having a fun time now, but you want to unlock like these the Fort of the Damned crew costume set. Well, if you want that, you're going to have to join the rest of us all on the high seas and give it a shot.
I can definitely see that perspective as well too. I want to make sure we're getting everyone's thoughts on here. So moving into our next guest, Regis Stella, what do you think of safe seas? I know you probably feel the strongest about safe seas versus high seas.
Yeah, as someone who doesn't engage in PvP like at all, really nice for for new people to have the option to like, oh, let's go into this world where no one around the world will target my back, just be killed by some sweaty sweat lords. And yeah. And also something that hasn't been brought up, like, uninterrupted tall tales that happen and adventures that like, oh, you're doing a tall tale or an adventure and suddenly you see the ship coming to you. Like, I'm like, for me, example, whenever I'm doing like an adventure, I see a ship on the horizon, like, okay, I'm getting off. okay, I'm getting off the server.
Mhm.
So I'm like, yes, it's a good idea for like, those who want to experience the story of the game without interruptions from, again, the Sweat Lords.
Yeah. Are you, and I want to kind of dig into this real quick before we get into Static and Prof. How are you feeling? Do you see yourself going to Safer Seas, even with the level caps and restrictions in place?
Yes, just for the story though. The tall tales and the adventures and what.
Okay.
Yeah,
Cool.
which I'm kind of looking forward to the One Piece ones whenever that comes around. But again, once the story issues are solved, then we can have One Piece.
A lot of story to tell, definitely. Okay. Static, you're up.
Safer Seas. I think it's a great idea. Like it's already been kind of said, it's a great way for new players to really get their feet wet and just get an experience for it before if they decide they want to come into a more of competitive mode. Few questions. Is the Chest of Wondrous Secrets still going to be available in your own personal server?
Oh.
Is the Shrouded Ghost going to be something you can just cruise around all day and hope to God that you find it? Or are they going to keep that out? It's another thing that, what about the chests of ancient tributes? Yes. You got to hand in like 100 or open up 100 gold vaults. What's stopping you from just hiding in Safer Seas and just unlocking a bunch of low-level vaults just to get that accommodation?
Mm-hmm.
I personally don't think 40 is actually too high because we all know that it goes up to 75. In the long run, I'd personally like to see every one go up to 100, but that's just me. So I personally will probably hop into Safer Seas a couple times just because I do want to see exactly what it feels like, kind of entitled to myself. And then I also want to, it's a great way to get your fishing done. If there's fish that you can't get, then this would be the place to do it, excluding from the battle kills. But if you're chasing down stormfish and you don't want to be bothered by anybody, your only concern is whether or not that storm's going to take you out.
That's true. I am very curious about the Shrouded Ghost and the Box of Wondrous Secrets, because those are random encounters in the game. It could happen to anyone, regardless of if there's other crews around you to interrupt or not interrupt. In fact, I know that some folks have been interrupted on that kind of stuff, but others haven't. But a lot of that goes uncontested as far as I've seen anecdotally. Prof, I think you're probably one of the biggest voices of opposition to this. I'd love to hear your reasoning for that.
Michael Scott said, I don't hate it. I just don't like it at all, and it's terrible.
What about it makes it terrible for you?
It just seems like it fractures the original intent that Rare told us why they created the game. It wasn't a PvE game. It wasn't just a PvP game. It was meant to be something different. This just fractures it again.
Mm-hmm.
And I've already stated we've not been seeing a lot of people while we've been sailing around. I guess, Chinza's right. We could throw up the Reaper and hop servers and try and find people, but it's not just finding people to sink. One of the things I loved about this game early on was the random encounters where you didn't know whether it was going to be a positive or a negative. That was part of the reason that I kept coming back, because it made the game different. It's different than any other multiplayer game I know of because of that randomness that kept me coming back to play. You can only sink so many robot ships and computer generated things. This is about the people that you run into for me, and it just nah. And everyone else has already brought up the fact if it's really about new players, is 40 really new? And so I don't really think that's what it's about. And yet, if it's not about that, and it's about, people who don't want to do PvP, well, by level 40, my goodness, you've probably been able to find an alliance server. And what interest would this have for you if you can already find an alliance server, and you don't want to play with other people other than, have the player versus player aspect of it? So I don't know what else this does other than fracture the original purpose of the game. So there you go. Old man, grumpy old man.
We have seen that concern in the past. What do you think is different now compared to when we originally had some of these issues? And to kind of bring a couple up as examples of when we thought this was going to fracture the player base too much. The alliances, Devil's Roar, Xbox only servers, Arena, when they refreshed Arena, Tall Tale content being pushed out to separate servers. All of these were instances where people felt that the player base would be fractured too much and that servers would be empty. I myself have recently been merged after a while. It's been a while since I've been merged on a server. There's always been ships enough to the point where, there's been someone around, but the other day I got merged and remembered that was even a thing, when there just aren't enough crews on one server. So what about this feels different compared to some of the other things that were concerns about fracturing the player base too much, Hourglass included?
I don't know that it does change it. I think each of those things did serve to fracture the community to a certain extent. We saw people that were just PvE motivated. They did, in a large portion, leave and go. And I think these other things have, maybe not to the extent we feared, but this one feels different because, what I put in chat and what Peoples had put up there, and that was, Chapman wrote, I don't know when, but that, Sea of Thieves is not just a PvE or a PvP, but both seamlessly merged. That will always be the heart of the game. Doesn't seem like it's the heart of the game anymore.
But what is taken away? What part of that is taken away from High Seas?
What do you mean?
The shared world adventure game being the heart of Sea of Thieves. What part of that is taken away from High Seas that Safer Seas is replacing?
Isn't it you're plopped on a server without people?
But the servers in High Seas will remain populated.
What I'm saying is this is a philosophical shift from Rare, that they said we wanted to build a PvE and a PvP game combined. And it's philosophically they have now shifted out of that. And if that's the heart of the game and it's no longer there, the game they designed and the reason they designed it the way they did is now not there anymore, then what is the anchor that keeps Sea of Thieves constant? That mix of PvE and PvP was the difference maker, in my opinion, for Sea of Thieves. And that was the part that they promised us would always be central to any development they did in Sea of Thieves. And I don't see that now.
I just don't see how that's taken away from High Seas, though.
Well, and it might not, but that's my opinion.
Okay.
It's not the same game that it was with this change.
It hasn't been the same game since it launched. We've had tons of changes to the games, or to the game.
So what's to stop them now that they've made this choice to say, you know what, it's been a year and the people that got to level 40, they just never migrated over and they still want to play our game and get to level 100. And so what, we've decided to move it so that they can get everything that everybody else gets. What stops that?
Nothing stopping them from doing that now, but they decided not to. They could have very easily just made this
they have slowly moved the line, and they continue to move the line. And I see at some point they no longer have a line. There'll be two games.
I mean, that could very well be the case, but from what we're seeing, they're still sticking to, like, they very easily, this could have been the straw. This could have been the moment where they said, okay, we're going to have servers that have combat turned off or damage turned off, and we're going to have servers that that damage is turned on. And
this is the only place that I was able to get to know Regis. He and I would never find each other on the seas ever, because he plays Alliance and that's where he is. We would never see each other. And this only increases that chance that some of us on Sea of Thieves might never ever see each other, especially if they don't find a community with mixed groups, and that's a shame.
Regis, you wanted to say something?
Never mind. Sorry.
Okay. I see the opposite. I see the opposite happening because I think that this will give players who quit the game because of the PvP aspect of adventure, pushing them away. If anything, they will be able to enjoy the story, the lore, the atmosphere, and have stories of their own in a world where they aren't bothered by PvP, and will still be able to connect with other people who play on high seas, and will bring those people to us.
What happens at level 44?
They continue playing.
You think they'll come over?
I mean, there's plenty of I'm playing Cyberpunk right now, and I mean, there's been people that have been playing Skyrim for years and years and years. There's games that for them the carrot on a stick isn't the level they earn; it's the atmosphere and the stories that they have. For a lot of folks, Sea of Thieves is just a chat room, and they just sail around and talk, and it doesn't really matter what the gold is or what the commendations are. The levels don't matter. What's keeping you playing right now when you've already hit max level in all of your reputations? Same thing would apply here.
Well, part of it, and I've already lamented it, is the random interactions that I don't see from the beginning. It's one of the things that has caused us to say, you know what? The other major reason that we wanted to play this was because we found, the Black Rose crew. So what else can we play? Because the random interaction that used to give us kind of the spice isn't there. I think it hasn't been there.
Yeah, I think that's a fundamental difference between the type of players that are going to be engaging with this. I think the thing that is going to draw folks over to safer seas will not be the thing that would pull them into higher seas if they had tried adventure mode prior to the split. And I think that folks that try out safer seas know why they're going there. Most folks will pick one or the other or dabble in both. I think safer seas will be a great opportunity for Sherpas to exist. Have one person who's a Sherpa, bring 3 people in to safer seas, give them time, and then bring them over to high seas.
So you've described 2 games, which is part of my issue, and it's obvious not everybody feels that way, and I'm playing the curmudgeon here.
It's not you against me in this case, though.
No. But that's you asked why, and that's why, and we don't have to agree that everyone has to have that same reasoning.
I just want to understand if you truly feel like high seas is different because of safer seas.
Yeah, it's a player group that now is missing on the seas. Mm-hmm. They might come over eventually, but they're not going to be there like they used to be.
Do you think the people
being able to come across somebody who is obviously brand spanking new and have the crew say, you know what, let's repair their ship, let's help them out, let's sail alongside them. If this works as they plan it to work, that opportunity's gone until those crews are level 40. And if what everybody thinks happens, by the time they reach level 40 and come over, they're not going to be interested in that interaction.
I think there's a lot of unknown factors in that kind of line of thinking, because I don't think that everyone will choose safer seas to start the game. I think some folks will pick higher seas. It's just like a difficulty setting in my mind. When you start a game, some people will start on easy, some people will start on hard. Not everyone's going to pick the same default standard difficulty when picking up a game. And I think the people that start on the harder modes are usually okay with higher seas. And I think some people who start on the lower modes might get through it, enjoy it, put it down, call it good. Others might go back, play through it again at a higher difficulty.
I see it as a fundamental shift from what Rare originally created, and I need time to mourn it.
But Mike Chapman, the creator, you even grabbed the tweet where he said that and this was today. This was earlier today, that their ideal of what Sea of Thieves is still the original vision and at the heart of the game.
I don't see it as congruent.
Do you think he's lying?
I think it's disingenuous.
So not truth.
Not the way I see it. You're splitting PvE and PvP into 2 groups, which is exactly what he said was supposed to be seamlessly merged.
They're splitting PvEVP and PvE. There are still going to be people that will do PvE in high seas. I guarantee you that.
But the original game, it was always mixed.
Until Arena came around. until Alliance
by
servers
creating,
came around.
Yeah, and I've already said that I feel like that fractured the community. Maybe not to the extent that was the worst, but it did. It did fracture the community.
Yeah, but it's not been to the death of Sea of Thieves though.
I never said death.
No, but
not here.
You said mourning.
Yeah. I can mourn something even if it's not dead or dying.
Fair enough. Anyone want to jump in on this? Everyone else has been pretty quiet.
I get where he's coming from, but I also fully understand where you're coming from, Logan. It just, if people are going to go to safer seas, let's say they're new players, and they come to the high seas, and then they're like, nope, not for me, and they go back to the safer seas. These were people that were never going to play the original game to begin with anyways. With this option of safer seas, this gives people that, oh, I've always wanted to play this game, but I heard that it's pretty hard to play because people can just kill you whenever they want. This allows them to come into the game, get an experience for it, and then realize, wow, this is really kind of cool. This is really fun. I wonder what it will be truly like with more people, and then trying to get those random interactions is what's going to hook them in. Obviously, not every interaction is going to be good. There's going to be trolls, but it's going to get them hooked into the game, and then they come over, and then they realize how much more to the game that there is being out of safer seas. And they're permanently probably going to stay in high seas unless there's something that they want to do or that they know that they can do safely in safer seas, which is fine. But if they come over to high seas and they truly enjoy that experience better, they will always stay in high seas.
Appreciate the commentary. God, did you want to jump in here?
I think it also serves as like a buffer. When I was starting out and I had a really when I was starting out and I knew I wanted to stay with the game, but I had a really rough night. All I could do was just like console myself with just like, well, bad night on the seas. I guess we'll try again tomorrow. But if I'm not feeling it, there's an option now to just be like, take a breather on nights. Say, I can't deal with people tonight. I'll just hop on safe seas. I'll come back to the high seas after I've ran a vault or two in peace.
I know. I remember my first night. I loaded in, had no clue how to do anything, no clue how to raise or lower the sails, and it was on a galleon with 4 other people who obviously at least knew how to do that. In the middle of a battle, I load in, and all I hear is a bunch of screaming about do this, do that, with no idea of how. It was not the most welcoming experience, but it was exciting, and so what I get excited about obviously is different than some, and I can recognize that. But it was that whole thing.
I definitely know why you feel the way you do. Rare said one thing, and unfortunately, I think this is a circumstance where, safer seas is intended to be what it is. They've never labeled it the way the community is labeling it. And I've had to do a fair amount of like damage control and resetting expectations for people in outside of like our community, because the assumption is this is the full game PvE mode. And I've had to try and express like, no, this is more training grounds. There's a lot to understand about Sea of Thieves with world events, with voyages, with sailing, just in general, how to figure things out. This is giving them a way to do that in their own terms, while additionally serving multiple other avenues. Like, this is going to be good for Sherpa people. This is going to be good for accessibility. This is going to be good for screenshots and cinematic stuff that people want to do for storytelling in their own way, like recording footage. It's trying to serve multiple audiences, not just the people who want to get away from PvP in adventure. I still would like to have private servers. I think private servers would be the best thing personally. I want to have a server that I can customize and play and invite all of my friends to, and have PvP enabled, even if it means no commendations, no gold, no progress, because at least that would give me an opportunity to set up fun events and things like that. But I think this is what we're going to get. I don't think that Rare has the bandwidth to be able to continue focusing and supporting private servers outside of certain communities that already have access to them. So I think this is the alternative for them, for us. But I think this will be a good thing for folks who just want to have a chill night and go fishing for a little bit, or just want to have the satisfaction of opening a gold vault. There's been nights like that where all I've wanted to go do is just go do a quick sea fort, get that, itch scratched, and then log out, even if I don't turn in the loot. And I think Safer Seas is a good way to not spin up a full server with other people, just to not, take one active crew off of the server's plater. Like you said, Prof, there are so many times where I log in, do a couple little things, and I'm wasting a space on a server because I'm not going to engage with anyone. I don't want to engage with anyone for those nights. And all I'm doing is taking one crew, one potential fun experience for the other crews on that server away because of my selfishness. And this will give me an opportunity to do that without it being limited to Maiden Voyage or Insiders. Did anyone else want to jump in or share any thoughts on this? Anything that they think needed to be addressed? I know we're going a little long here. All right, folks. I think we'll have to wait and see on this. I think this is going to be a good step for the game to bring in players that normally wouldn't be able to touch it. I hope that we can use this as an opportunity to train people up so that they can get used to Sea of Thieves, so that we can then encourage them into high seas so that they can get the full experience, the thing that we love. I'm interested to hear if anyone thinks that the 30% reputation in gold will feel like how Sea of Thieves did back in the day, back when we had to do it the hard way because of the reduction to get up to 40. But let me know what you guys think. I want to go down the list and talk to everyone, give them a chance to say hi, goodbye, whatever they would like to share. So Captain Hayes, thank you for joining. I appreciate it. Anything you want to say or shout out as we head out?
No, not really. Just thank you very much for having me. I've enjoyed my my first podcast.
I appreciate it. I'm glad you made it in.
Thanks.
Godhammer, anything you want to share or say?
I think I've said my piece. Thanks for having me, and I'm coming for your Skull of Siren song.
I'm looking forward to that.
Look out for the Grog Pirates. Ha 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 ha.
Mina, as we're heading out, thanks for dropping in. I appreciate it.
You're very welcome.
Anyone you want to shout
And
out?
I want your grog, Godhammer.
Alrighty. And Regis, thanks for dropping in. Good morning. I hope you have a good rest of your Sunday.
Yeah, hopefully soon. Just pleasure doing business like always. Looking forward to more.
Definitely. Static, we are heading out. Sir, anything you want to say or shout out as we head out?
Yeah, I'd say I enjoyed our discussions today. It was actually a pretty good one, discussing the pros and the cons of a lot of stuff. So just all around good show today.
Well, the show is good because of you all, so I appreciate that. Prof, we're heading out. Thank you for being the voice of opposition on this. Hopefully we didn't go too hard on you. I really valued you being here.
No, it was a lot of fun. As we go out, just a plug to Microsoft Xbox. Currently, there is no AARP discounts that you all offer for your gamers of more experience. I have recently had a birthday, and I'm looking for my discount.
Happy birthday, Prof.
They invited me a little early, so I haven't quite hit the 50, but it's awfully darn close.
Oh, man. I'll have to hit some friends up and see if they can get in contact with people of importance. See if we can get some ARRP respect in here. All right, fam. I love you all so much. Thank you so much for jumping in on here. If anyone wants to write in with their reasons why they think Sea of Thieves is dead, I'd be more than happy to read those out and entertain them for the next episode as well, too. I know a lot of folks have feelings on this. I'd love to get some good points or some strong arguments about Sea of Thieves and Safer Seas and higher seas and stuff. I've seen some things that I can definitely respect. But I definitely want to hear what your thoughts are on this. So thank you all to the Gold Hoarders for hanging out with me today. It was awesome. We went longer than we usually do, but man, I was really liking the conversation we were having. So thank you all. I love you, and we'll call it here.